These legendary machines are classic because they represent an era of speed, style, and innovation that still thrills car enthusiasts today. Number 8. 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. The 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme is a true gem from the 80s. It blends classic style with a hint of muscle, and the ride makes you feel cool just sitting behind the wheel. While it's not the fastest car, its bold design and comfort make it a standout today. This car has a presence that's hard to ignore. With a wide, low-to-the-road stance, a sharp hood ornament, and a distinctive split-front grille, it grabs attention wherever it goes. The smooth body lines and dual exhaust pipes give it a sporty edge, even if the performance doesn't quite match the look. It's a car that makes you feel like you're driving something special, and that's part of its legendary appeal. Under the hood, you'll find a 348 cubic inches V8 engine. It produces 105 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. While that's not much by today's standards, it was enough to give the car some presence on the road back in its day. The engine uses a 4-barrel carburetor, which helps give it a little more kick, although it doesn't have the fuel injection systems that later cars would use. You could choose between a 3-speed or 4-speed automatic transmission, but manual shifting wasn't an option, which might be a downside for purists. What made this car special was its blend of comfort and style. The interior was luxurious for the time, with a slight wraparound design on the dashboard that made it feel ahead of its era. The seats were plush and spacious, offering a comfortable ride, whether cruising through the suburbs or taking a longer trip. The Cutlass Supreme wasn't built for speed but was made for enjoyment. It handles decently for a car of its size, but it is heavy and wide on tighter roads. It's not a sports car, but it wasn't meant to be. Instead, it's a stylish cruiser that captures the essence of 1980s Americana. Today, you can find one of these classics for around $6,450. It's a car that might not win races, but wins hearts with its retro charm and timeless look. Owning one is like owning a piece of automotive history, a true legend from the past. Number 7. 1983 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS. The 1983 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS is a true classic from the golden era of muscle cars, and it's easy to see why it still has a loyal following. With its boxy, no-nonsense look and solid performance, this car was designed to take on the Mustangs, Firebirds, and Oldsmobiles of its time. It didn't just compete, it became a favorite for enthusiasts back then and today. Let's start with the design. The Monte Carlo SS has a bold, upright stance that makes it instantly recognizable. It's a car that looks ready to hit the road, even when standing still. While the color options were limited to white or blue, the clean lines and sharp angles give it a timeless appeal. Some might call it simple, but that's part of its charm for many. Inside is equipped with a 305 cubic inches V8 engine, which produces 175 horsepower and the 235 pound-feet of torque. These numbers were solid for the era, giving the Monte Carlo SS enough muscle to be fun. Paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission, this rear-wheel drive car could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.2 seconds. That might not sound like much by today's standards, but it's quite respectable for a car weighing a hefty 3,500 pounds. Every horse under the hood works hard to get this big machine moving. Furthermore, the Monte Carlo SS offers a roomy cabin with comfortable bench seats, making it a great choice for cruising with friends or family. It's moderately luxurious but has enough comfort to make long drives enjoyable. While it may not have the flashiest interior, its simplicity suits its overall character. This car wasn't just a street favorite, it also connected to racing glory. The Monte Carlo SS arrived the same year that legendary NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt switched to Chevrolet, which gave the car an added boost in popularity. Over its production run from 1983 to 1988, Chevrolet sold an impressive 154,815 units, which speaks to how much people loved it. Today, the average price for a well-kept Monte Carlo SS is around $11,600. It's not just a car, it's a piece of 80s history. The Monte Carlo SS combines performance, style, and a touch of racing heritage, making it a true legend in muscle cars. I hope you enjoy this video, so hit the like and subscribe to the channel first. Number 6, 1987 Oldsmobile 442. The 1987 Oldsmobile 442 is a true 1980s classic that brings together muscle, style, and a touch of luxury. While it might not be the fastest car on the block, it has plenty of character to compensate for it. If speed is your only priority, you should look elsewhere. But for those who appreciate a well-rounded muscle car with a bit of history, the 442 stands out. This car is built on that General Motors G-body platform, which gives it that iconic silhouette we associate with 1980s muscle cars. The name 442 has a lot of history, as Oldsmobile brought it back in 1985 after a brief hiatus. Over its 3-year run, around 11,400 units were produced, making it a bit of a rare gem today. Under the hood, the 442 is powered by a 305 cubic inches V8 engine, producing 170 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. These numbers are respectable but not earth-shattering, and the car's weight of over 3,000 pounds means it takes 9.5 seconds to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour. That might not win many drag races, but this car wasn't built just for speed. It was designed to handle well too, thanks to its sophisticated suspension system with front and rear stabilizer bars. You can feel its strength in the corners, making it a joy to drive on winding roads. One of the highlights of this car is its Rochester Quadrajet carburetor, a throwback to the golden age of Oldsmobile muscle cars. In the 442, this carburetor is computer-controlled, making the fuel delivery slightly crisper than older setups. However, it doesn't have modern fuel injection, so it lags behind some of its rivals in performance. Despite this, the 442 offers a comfortable and straightforward interior. It's not flashy, but it gets the job done, with plenty of room and soft seats that make it great for cruising. While there was no manual transmission option, the 4-speed automatic is smooth and suits the car's character. The 1987 Oldsmobile 442 balances muscle and luxury, maintaining its reputation as part of GM's entry-level luxury lineup. With an average price of $19,527 today, it's a collector's dream. This car might not be the fastest, but it's a piece of 1980s automotive history, perfect for anyone who loves a full-bodied muscle car with style and substance. Number 5, 1985 Chevrolet Camaro, IROCZ. The 1985 Chevrolet Camaro, IROCZ, is a true icon of the 80s and one of the most memorable muscle cars of its time. It was inspired by Chevrolet's partnership with the International Race of Champions. The Zed comes from the Z28, the high-performance version of the Camaro that served as the foundation for this sleek and powerful machine. This car brought a fresh look to the muscle car scene, combining raw power with a more refined design. The IROC-Z has a low, wide stance that makes it look ready to pounce, and its style is unmistakable. Everything about this car screams performance, from the pinstripes running along the bottom of the body to the inset headlights, hood vents, and aggressive grille. People in the know can spot an IROC-Z from a mile away, and it's hard not to admire its bold presence. Under the hood, the Camaro IROC-Z packs a 305 cubic inches V8 engine that delivers 215 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. It comes with a 5-speed manual transmission for those who love to shift gears, or a 4-speed automatic for a smoother ride. With a rear-wheel drive setup, this car can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds and reach a top speed of 151 miles per hour. These numbers made it a strong contender in its time, offering speed and power for a thrilling drive. What sets the IROC-Z apart isn't just its straight-line performance. It also handles surprisingly well for a muscle car, thanks to its well-balanced chassis and low center of gravity. The optional tuned port injection package, borrowed from the Corvette, gave it an edge in performance and made it a standout in the Camaro lineup. Inside, the IROC-Z features a comfortable and spacious cabin that makes it as good for daily driving as it is for showing off on the weekends. It might not be the most luxurious interior, but it's practical and adds to the car's overall appeal. Today, finding a well-kept IROC-Z can be a challenge. Many have high mileage, and fuel pump issues were common, but it's worth it if you can get your hands on one. With an average price of the $21,400, it's a slice of 1980s muscle car history. The IROC Z is more than just a car. It's a legend that continues to turn heads and capture hearts. Number 4, 1987 Buick Regal GNX. The 1987 Buick Regal GNX is truly a legendary muscle car from the 1980s, and it's one of the rarest and most exciting cars from that time. This isn't just any Buick, it's the ultimate version of the Regal, built to be faster and more powerful than anything else on the road. While V8 engines powered most muscle cars in the 80s, the GNX took a different approach with a turbocharged V6 engine. Inside the hood, the GNX packs a 232 cubic inches V6 engine that's boosted by a turbocharger, delivering an incredible 300 horsepower and 80 pound-feet of torque. This setup might sound like little compared to today's cars, but in the 1980s it was revolutionary. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.7 seconds, faster than many of the best cars of that time, including Ferraris, Porsches, and Corvettes. The top speed was 124 miles per hour, which might seem modest today, but it was still impressive back then. Moreover, the GNX wasn't just about straight-line speed. It handled surprisingly well, thanks to features like a unique rear differential and a special torque arm for better traction. The car was built for grip, and when you pushed it around corners, it felt planted and stable. But what makes the GNX legendary is how rare and special it is. Buick only made 547 of these cars in 1987, meaning owning one today is a real privilege. It's not just a muscle car, it's a piece of automotive history. The black paint job, dual exhaust, and interior details give the car a unique feel. Inside, it's not all about luxury, but it's definitely a cool place to be, with a distinct vibe that matches the car's performance. If you want to own one, be prepared to pay a premium. A used GNX today can cost well over $100,000, and a mint condition model can easily top $200,000. But if you're lucky enough to own one, you'll be behind the wheel of one of the most powerful, fastest, and most prestigious muscle cars of the 1980s. The 1987 Buick Regal GNX wasn't just a car. It was a game changer that pushed the boundaries of what muscle cars could be and left a lasting legacy. Number 3, 1984 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. The 1984 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am is a classic that returns to the good old 1980s. Thanks to movies like Smokey and the Bandit, the Firebird earned a legendary reputation, and the '84 Trans Am model is still an amazing car that delivers a lot of fun. This muscle car still stands out today with its sharp, aggressive look and unique features like pop-up headlights. The kind of car excites people about the 1980s muscle cars, especially since younger generations are discovering this era for the first time. Under the hood, it packs a 305 cubic inches V8 engine, producing a strong 190 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque. It may not be the fastest car, but it can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 7.5 seconds, which is impressive. The car's rear-wheel drive setup and solid handling make it a joy to drive, even on winding roads. It's not just about looking good. This car can perform with power that matches its fierce design. The Trans Am's elegant yet aggressive design with sharp lines gives it a commanding presence on the road. It's got that classic 80s muscle car feel, with a bold, in-your-face look that still turns heads today. It's not just about style. The car's handling also holds up well, offering a crisp, responsive drive that makes you feel in control. This one delivers if you're looking for a car that combines muscle and style. However, this car does have some downsides. There's no manual transmission option, which might be a turnoff for some driving enthusiasts. Only about 1,500 of these cars were made, so finding one in good condition with low miles can be pretty tough. Parts are also harder to come by, making maintenance more challenging. But if you find one, you'll have a rare and special piece of automotive history. Number 2, 1982 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The 1982 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 is one of those muscle cars that turned heads when it was first released, and it still does today. Looking at it, you see a car that screams modern for its time. This Camaro stands out in the crowd with bold five-spoke rims, an aggressive front end, a large glass hatchback, and sharp body creases. It was designed to look fast, even when sitting still, and it's a car you wouldn't mind being seen in. Its striking design has aged well, and it still holds up as one of the most iconic muscle cars of the 80s. But it's not just about how it looks. It packs some serious performance too. Under the hood, it has a 305 cubic inches V8 engine, which produces 165 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque. It's not the most powerful car in its class, especially compared to some of its rivals from that era, but it has plenty of muscle to get you moving. The Z28 can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 8.7 seconds, which was decent for the time. The car also comes with a 3-speed automatic or a 4-speed manual transmission, letting you choose between easy driving or the thrill of shifting gears yourself. One of the standout features is the new throttle body injection, TBI system, which helped boost the engine's performance and made the car a bit more responsive. It also features a fiberglass hood with hood scoops, giving it a race-ready look while helping with aerodynamics. The coil suspension gives it agile handling, making it fun to drive around corners and tight spots. It's a muscle car that doesn't just look tough, but handles itself well on the road too. Inside, it offers performance and a comfortable ride. It's built for driving enthusiasts, but comfortable enough for long trips or daily drives. The interior has a sport-oriented vibe focused on the driver, making you feel in control. Of course, if you like to feel the road and hear the engine roar, this car delivers all of that too. However, the Camaro ZD28 does have some downsides. Compared to its competitors, it has a different power, which means it's not as quick off the line as some other muscle cars from the era. It's also slower than other cars in the same category, which can be a drawback for performance seekers. Another downside is that the catalytic converters can fail over time, affecting the car's performance and efficiency. Despite these drawbacks, it is still an incredibly fun and iconic car to drive. When Chevrolet introduced the 1982 Camaro, they ensured it was lighter and more aerodynamic than the previous models. It was about 500 pounds lighter than the 1981 Camaro, and the body was nearly 10 inches shorter, which made it more agile and efficient. The new body design helped it achieve a very low drag coefficient, which is important for performance and fuel efficiency. Even with these upgrades, the Z28 kept its classic rear-wheel drive layout, which gave it that classic muscle car feel. Overall, it is a legendary muscle car that blends style, performance, and handling. It might not have the fastest acceleration or the most horsepower, but it's a car that brings excitement to the road and still looks as cool as ever. Number 1. 1987 Ford Mustang V. The 1987 Ford Mustang V is one of those cars that made a mark in the muscle car world. It's part of the legendary Fox Body Mustang line, which started in 1979 when Ford introduced a new platform to tackle tough emissions regulations. This new Mustang, the Fox Body, became a hit, selling over the 2.6 million units when it ended production in 1993. The 80s were a defining time for this Mustang, and the 1987 model brought it all together, especially with the 305 cubic inches V8 engine. By 1982, Ford had already boosted the Mustang's performance with the 299 cubic inches V8 engine in the returning GT trim, which later became the 5. This upgrade raised the car's power from just 120 horsepower to 175 horsepower, and it could churn out 245 pound-feet of torque. The Mustang weighed about 3,070 pounds, making for a quick car that could go from 0 to 62 miles per hour in around 7 seconds. While the numbers might not seem so impressive today, they were a big deal back then, especially for a car that had fallen on hard times in the 70s. Ford breathed new life into the Mustang and quickly regained its reputation as a muscle car. Fast forward to 1987, and Ford decided to give the Fox Body Mustang a facelift. The car kept most of its original design, but the front end got a major upgrade. The new look included single aerodynamic headlights, wraparound turn signal indicators, and a flush nose. These changes made the Mustang look wider and more aggressive. The GT in particular got a beefier appearance with a more muscular body kit, and the iconic cheese grater taillights became a signature feature of the Fox body's later years. Even the base LX trim, while not as aggressive as the GT, still had a solid and cohesive design, especially with its body-colored bumpers and black bodyside molding. Inside, its redesigned interior made it feel more driver-focused. The new pod-style instrument cluster put everything in the right place, making the car feel more connected to the road. Ford's decision to simplify the lineup worked in the Mustang's favor, as it kept things straightforward with just two main trims, the LX and the GT. Both trims were available as hatchbacks and convertibles, while the notchback coupe was exclusive to the LX. This simplicity helped keep the Mustang light and fun to drive, and that a 305 cubic inch engine was available across the entire lineup, making this car a favorite among Mustang enthusiasts. Even today, these cars are highly sought after, especially when they come in good condition and have low miles. From raw power to unforgettable style, these legendary muscle cars continue to captivate. So which one will you take for a spin? Let us know in the comments below.